The relationship between religion and racism is similarly complex and historically deep. Religion has often played dual roles, being used to justify racial hierarchies and discrimination, while also inspiring powerful anti-racist movements and ideologies. Here's a detailed breakdown of how religion and racism have interacted across history and cultures. Religion as a justifier of racism. Biblical justifications. Religious texts have been selectively interpreted to support racist ideologies. Curse of Ham. A misinterpretation of Genesis 9:20-27 was used to justify black enslavement. Some Christian theologians claimed that Ham's descendants were cursed with dark skin and servitude. Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, used by some to justify segregation, claiming God intended different races to remain separate. Slavery and colonialism. Religious authorities and missionaries often provided theological backing for colonial conquest and slavery. Christianity and the transatlantic slave trade. Enslavers often baptized slaves but continued to treat them as property. Some churches taught that Africans were naturally inferior, needing Christian civilization. The Catholic doctrine of discovery, originating in the 15th century, granted Christian European monarchs the right to claim lands inhabited by non-Christians. This doctrine was used to justify the conquest and forced conversion of indigenous peoples. The caste system in Hinduism, particularly in India, has deep religious roots. Historically, the lowest castes, known as Dalits, were discriminated against based on religious justification. Although not racial in the Western sense, caste discrimination shares many features with racial prejudice. This includes inherited status and exclusion. Religion as a force against racism. Faith-based civil rights movements. Martin Luther King Jr., a Baptist minister who used Christian theology to challenge racism. Famous for invoking biblical imagery in speeches like, "I have a dream and letter from Birmingham jail." Liberation theology in places like Latin America and Africa emphasizes the Christian call to fight oppression and injustice, including racism. Desmond Tutu, an Anglican Christian from South Africa, was a leading voice against apartheid. His stance was deeply rooted in Christian principles of justice. In Islam, the concept of racial equality is profoundly significant. Prophet Muhammad's last sermon explicitly rejected racial superiority, stating, "No Arab is superior to a non-Arab, nor is a white superior to a black, except by piety and good action." Malcolm X initially embraced black separatism through the Nation of Islam. However, after his pilgrimage to Mecca, he promoted a vision of racial unity based on shared faith. Judaism and Anti-Racism. Jewish teachings emphasize the universal dignity of all humans. All are created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. Jewish communities have historically stood in solidarity with civil rights struggles, particularly in the United States. While individual believers may oppose racism, many religious institutions have been complicit in systemic racism. Churches in America. Many supported segregation and were slow to desegregate. White evangelicals often resisted civil rights reforms in the 20th century. Apartheid, South Africa. The Dutch Reformed Church provided theological justification for apartheid policies. Caste-based discrimination in Hindu temples. Dalits were historically denied access to temples and rituals. Global perspectives, Buddhism. In theory, Buddhism promotes equality and compassion for all beings. But in practice, Buddhist nationalism in Myanmar and Sri Lanka has fueled racism and violence against Muslim minorities like the Rohingya. Indigenous religions are often dehumanized or labeled as pagan or primitive by colonizers. Missionary activity frequently went hand in hand with the erasure of indigenous identity. Many religious thinkers have developed explicit anti-racist theologies, including Black liberation theology, articulated by James Cone, interprets Christianity from the experience of African Americans, focusing on God's solidarity with the oppressed. Dalit Theology, a movement within Indian Christianity that challenges casteism and portrays Jesus as a Dalit figure. Interfaith anti-racism coalitions, collaborations between religions to confront hate, white supremacy, and xenophobia. Ongoing challenges and opportunities. Religious communities still struggle with internal racism, tokenism, and lack of diversity. Hate crimes are sometimes committed in the name of religion, for example, white supremacists invoking Christian values. Religion can mobilize large groups for justice. Rituals, texts, and moral teachings offer powerful tools to challenge hate and affirm human dignity. Religion has both fueled and fought racism. While many atrocities have been committed with religious justification, faith has also inspired some of the most profound anti-racist voices and movements in history. The tension continues today, making it critical for religious communities to reflect on their traditions' roles in both perpetuating and healing racial injustice. Would you like a comparison chart showing examples of religious justifications for and against racism across different faiths? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fun and educational videos.